Toyota is sponsored by Power Pole.
Come on, baby. Stay on there. Stay on there. Got her. Got her. Oh, I think we're going to stay. What do you think? We should stay? I think we should stay. I want to win the Classic one day. I mean, and I feel like this lake like fits me well. Like when I start moving around, like visually with my eyeballs, I'm just like, I'm not sure. But when I start cranking, I guess that all that cover is like right there in those same areas. And man, I don't know, it does. It felt really good today.
It's a dangerous time when John Cox is feeling good at the Bassmaster Classic. He's in an area that he's very comfortable with. And it's an area we've seen him get a third place finish on this body of water just 2 years ago. John Cox sitting unofficially second place, a large margin though from Jeff Gustafson at the top of the leaderboard to second place John Cox. Brandon Lester in a virtual tie with him. Scott Canterbury and Corey Johnston, that is our top 5 right now. Meanwhile, Brian Schmidt, Jay Shakirik, Brandon Card, Caleb Kufal, a new addition to the top 10, and Greg Hackney, all hanging tough, but by far, there is one angler who has dialed in something different than everyone else. 10 smallmouth over 2 days for Jeff Gustafson. Can he get 5 more on Championship Sunday to win the 53rd Bassmaster Classic? We welcome you back to Bassmaster Live. Ronnie Moore here. I've got special guests that we will introduce in just a moment as we take a look across the lake. We got Canadian flags in the top right of the screen as they're following Jeff Gustafson around. Got a look at John Cox's area and how dirty it is in the back of those creeks. And you've got the main canal, or the main river of the Tennessee River here, Fort Loudon and Tellico, as well as our map. And this is going to lead us into kind of the summation of our morning, which is our Toyota Midday Report. We're going to start off with some of our top contenders today. The ones that we've had on camera, they were in the top 10 after day 2 or after day 1, and they're still maintaining that. Corey Johnston started early with a quick largemouth. He thought it was going to be a smallmouth bite, ended up following it up with a big smallmouth. I believe it was this catch here. Utilizing similar areas as some of our leaders, but doing a different approach with a jerkbait in his hand, catching both species. Seemingly gonna get to that 14-pound mark if he can fill his limit. He's got 8 pounds right now for 3 fish, and this is his 3rd fish. Making that transition midday towards the docks of Tellico, catching largemouth and smallmouth off the docks. A guy who's made a big charge today, Scott Canterbury, may not have made a bunch of weight gain on the leader. In fact, he's falling behind just a little bit because Jeff Gustafson is so steady with his minimum weight of 15.5 pounds right now. But Scott Canterbury, by far the best largemouth angler other than John Cox today. Canterbury, who also had a great finish here in 2021. He did so by way of a 6-pounder, and he knows they live in here, but he needs 1 or 2, maybe 3 of those to get back in the game over the next 2 days of competition. Canterbury, though, a solid game plan. Used a spinnerbait early. Also been seen with a jig at times. Had a tricky catch here and was able to come out on top. Solid fish for him, one of his better ones of the day. He's currently in 4th place, an 11-pound, 6-ounce limit on Bass Track, 24.3 for 2 days so far. Guy we've all had our eyes on. One of the favorites, not a local, but he is a Tennessee angler from Middle Tennessee, Brandon Lester. Really starting off strong in this event. Proved why he was one of the favorites coming in after yesterday's performance, 17 pounds and change to be 2nd place overall. And then today, a little bit of adjustment, a little dirtier in his area. Had to switch up bait colors just a little bit, but that 1/4 ounce lipless crankbait has played huge for him. Changing over to red today has been key for him. We saw this yesterday, a lot of fish coming, shallow, treble hooks, cranking, whether it was a build crankbait or a lipless crankbait. But that afternoon transition, when he picks up a jig, maybe goes to a little bit more vertical cover or a little bit different structure type, it's where we saw kickers come from him yesterday. Can we see it on day 2? Guy who's really been steady. Was not sure if he was going to get a bite at all. Goes into his area, which was very clear throughout all of practice. It got dirty, and it looks like deja vu. A rewind to 2021 when he got 3rd place in this exact area, throwing the exact baits. Been utilizing a couple different colors of the Berkeley Fritz side this week. John Cox says he kind of hates how the beginning of his career started out because he's learned to crank with the best of them the last few years, and he kind of wishes he would have picked it up earlier in his career. Got a couple fish out of really thick cover, having to run your bait into the cover, get hung up at times to land these fish. We've seen him bring in a couple sticks along with bass at the same time because he's fishing right up in some of that shallow, dirty cover. Now the story of the week, the story coming in, would Jeff Gustafson be able to go back-to-back on this body of water? He won the Elite Series event in 2021, leading all 4 days of this event, catching nothing but smallmouth. Could he do that for the Bassmaster Classic? A lot of people, including myself, I was a little pessimistic about it being late March. Would smallmouth factor for 3 days for Gussie? He's 2 days through that process, 10 smallmouth to his credit. Can he catch 5 more on Championship Sunday to take the title? Right now, he's looking like he's in a good position. Anything less than a limit tomorrow, I guess, would leave the door open for John Cox and Brandon Lester, but if Jeff Gustafson does his job, 5 more fish could separate him from being the second international angler ever to win the Bassmaster Classic. There's still a lot of fishing time left. We have half of our day today, or a couple hours left in our day, and a final day that'll be full of drama. Welcome into the Bassmaster Studios and the Outdoor Expo. Ronnie Moore here, along with my special guests. Like I mentioned, our Toyota Midday Report will now consist of two-time back-to-back Bassmaster Classic champion Hank Cherry and the MC of all MCs, Dave Mercer. Guys, today it's been more dominant than I ever thought it would be for Jeff Gustafson. A couple 17-inchers he's had to throw back, but boy, he's 5 more smallmouth and he could do it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. How different a day makes. Ronnie Moore, yesterday even when Gussie was leading, Ronnie Moore saying it can't happen. There's no way it can happen. He is 5 fish away from making history. And not just that, he's dominated this fishery 5 days in a row. I mean, you can't say he's dominated it yet today until we see the rest of the field. But 5 days in a row, if you count the Elite Series and, of course, now the Bassmaster Classic.
And Hank Cherry, you know about winning and closing out a Classic on the final day. Gussie would have led 7 straight days on this body of water. If he leads wire to wire this week, you led your first Classic wire to wire, and I think you led 2 of the 3 in your second one. What kind of pressure will he face leaving the dock tomorrow, no matter if it's a 5-pound lead that you don't want to give away or if it's closer than that?
Well, Gussie's mentality, I can imagine right now, is he's at home. This is from whatever town he's from in Canada. This is his backyard. This is his place. And he's got to be thinking right now, nobody is taking this from me. I'm 5 bites away. And it doesn't matter. He only has to see 5. Because when you watch Gussie fish throughout this whole process, he has complete confidence in what he's doing. I said it earlier. He reminds me that he's back home fishing through the ice. And that's how confident he is right now.
He is exuding confidence. He said that since he got here. He fished an hour of his practice period for largemouth just in case. I don't think we're going to see him make a cast for largemouth this week, guys. Such a dominant performance by him. Hey, he did walk into the interview room yesterday with a little bit of swagger and stared me down and said,
so he should. I would have slapped you right in your mouth.
How do you like that? And I said, hey, I love that. I'm not rooting against you, Gussie. I just didn't think it'd be possible for 3 days in late March that smallmouth would win this body of water.
That is the world's biggest crawfish I've ever seen in my life. You're backing your way out of that.
Of course. By tomorrow, Dave, he was my pick to win. That's what it's going to be. Chris Johnston hooked up.
Is it a keeper? Get me close. Oh, I don't think so.
I believe his bass track is accurate, which is 0. This could be his first keeper today.
13 3/4. Come on, 7. Golden.
Whoa. Oh.
Flashbacks.
Come on.
Slippery little suckers. You think that Johnston, if Gussie pulls this off, Chris Johnson has been the first to do everything fishing-wise
as
a Canadian. You think the Johnston brothers are going to be happy for Gussie, or just maybe happy publicly for Gussie?
Just nice to feel.
I think happy publicly, because I doubt that they're even happy for each other when they have success. When Corey beats Chris, Chris isn't really happy, and but I think that they'll publicly show some respect. He'll be the first Canadian to ever do it, second international. That's history that we haven't seen. It's been almost 20 years since our first international angler won the Classic.
I gotta fish the rest of the docks in this pocket.
Chris Johnston on the left just caught his first keeper. That was accurate to bass track, and John Cox sitting in second place right now. Virtual tie with Lester.
Today's been it's been going okay. I mean, we got 5. That was the main goal. We got 2 really nice ones. I'd feel really good if we got one more nice one. If we got like a 5, a call out like 1.5 pounds. But I'm just torn. Like I want to hang out in here and wait for new ones to come in. But then part of me feels like it's almost too warm. Like we need to go main river stuff. So I don't know. And we haven't gone where we caught any of them yesterday. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we should make the run. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I'm all over the place. So I think we're gonna hit this one more time. And if we make a call here on our magical tree, I think maybe we'll hang out. And if we don't, I think we're gonna go maybe run some new pieces of wood on the main river. I just got a feeling it's just warming up so fast.
The nice thing about John is if he thinks it, you're gonna hear it.
We've seen a lot of anglers take what I like to, the analogy is they've taken a crumb and made a full sandwich out of it this week. They've taken very little of practice. How hard is it, Hank, knowing that you practice for 3 days, 4 days for a Classic, all disjointed days in between, and it's totally opposite of the way you're going to fish the tournament weather-wise? Like, how do you even prepare for the way it's already probably mid-60s in the back, and that's why he thinks it's gotten too warm too fast?
Look, don't let John even try to fool anybody.
The problem is
he knows exactly what's going on.
He
knows exactly what he wants to do, and he knows he's sitting exactly where he needs to be. He knows they're coming to him. He knows that he doesn't have 1.5 pounds in his live well, and he knows that things are good, and that the afternoon keeps moving the way it is, that he has an excellent chance to move up the leaderboard and chase Gussie down. He knows that in the back of his head.
Still waiting to see a 5+ pound largemouth or smallmouth come across the scales. 415 was our big bass yesterday. A lot of 3-pounders for our largemouth guys, but we're waiting to see the kicker from that species pop in. Brian Schmidt hooked up.
Please stay on. Please, baby girls.
That's a nice one. That is a real nice one.
That's what Gussie's got to worry about.
Please,
I mean, not only he's got to catch him,
here.
but with this warm weather, you could have a largemouth guy make a giant charge.
That's definitely worth one talking to right there.
Ooh.
Yes! Whoa! Whoa! Come on, baby. I lost that fish yesterday. That's a nice one.
Yeah.
It's a 3-pounder. Give me some on that, huh?
There we go. Let's go.
We're not done. Woo! We're not done. We're not done. We're not done. Dude, I lost that fish yesterday.
That will jump Brian Schmidt into the top 5, and
When
if
I
it's a
hit
little
him,
more
I
than
don't know
3
if you
pounds
saw it. It was
even,
like I was hung up.
get him up into 4th place.
Yesterday. Well,
Does that give Brian 5?
That was number 4.
Fish a couple places back here, and I need to get idling
Biggest of the day.
back here where this clear water is. We gotta find more of this. That was big time, boy.
Dave Mercer, Brian Schmidt is a gamer. I asked him yesterday. He's won plenty of opens. He's won plenty of three-day events. And we see guys who win Elite Series events struggle in the Classic. I don't know what the deal is between 4 days versus 3 days, all the weather changes, things like that. I asked him, I said, this is kind of the opens are like sprints, the Elites are like marathons, and the Classic is somewhere in between. There are days where you have to throttle them and use everything, and there's days where you got to manage it. And for Schmidt, I feel like this style of tournament sets up well for him.
All right, we just made a move where I lost one yesterday, and we caught her. I'm gonna go back to where I did most of my damage here in about an hour or so, where I did most of my work yesterday. I started on it this morning. I don't know if they don't position right or the current's bumping now or what, but I feel like they're biting. But what I really want to do is I really want to get back here and idle and try to find some more of this back here where this little bit cleaner water is. I got a couple little things we're going to hit back here. We might idle some. We're definitely going to come back and throw at this on our way back out, but we just got a little bit of life. I mean, just a little bit of life. I feel a lot better. It just is not easy, man. I just wish I had a little bit more than what I have, like spots-wise. Like I need some fresh stuff. One more cast here, and we're gonna move.
Start of this event, every angler said, you know, you got to come into this, and it's going to be the angler that's fluid, the angler that can change with the conditions. And the amazing thing about 3-day events and the Bassmaster Classic is I think people underestimate how it's tough to recover from a slippage. You see it in the Elite Series all the time where somebody has a tough, you know, first day, but they get right back in it and they can potentially win that tournament. That one less of a day, and some people think it makes it easier to win a tournament. Sometimes it makes it harder.
These are some of the catches from earlier today for Brian Schmidt. We just saw him catch his 4th keeper, and Hank Cherry, Mercer said it, Brian Schmidt said it. There are guys who go out on day 1 and swing for the fences because second doesn't matter, last doesn't matter, but then they don't even have a shot. They've boxed themselves out of winning because of a tough day. Over half the field does not have a shot to win after how yesterday was a tough day for them. You got to at least be in the game after day 1 to have a shot to win on Sunday.
Yeah, you've got to be in it to win it, but you have to have that mental mindset this tournament that there is one place, one position, and first is where you want to be after the 3rd day. But if you don't make it to the 3rd day, you end up being at the expo, you can't win it. So getting to the 3rd day is priority.
Hank, here's what I want to know. What is tonight like for Jeff Gustafson, for Brandon Lester, for these guys? I mean, everybody talks about that pressure, and some people have said to me, well, we haven't seen Gussie, you know, he's very calm, and I believe he will be calm tomorrow. But you are really not tested in the Classic until you're leading after day 2 and going out the next day. How tough is that to deal with?
I think his mindset is going to really depend on the lead at the end of the day. Right? I've always said going to this event, you either want to be barely trailing or you want to be blowing it away. The closer the field is, the bigger the monkey on the shoulders. But Gussie has that personality where on the outside, he's not going to let it bother you. And you can't, because these guys are going to smell fear, and you can't be afraid of failure to be successful in this job, in this tournament. And I think that's the furthest thing from Gussie's mind at the moment. Gussie wants to win this tournament. His only thing, his one point is going to be, I need 5 fish. He's going to sleep in his head needing 5 fish. He's going to eat dinner tonight thinking about 5 fish. Everything he does till he gets back on that boat tomorrow is going to be about 5 fish.
Here's the little nugget you got to keep in mind. Think about who he's roomed with the last year. Yeah. Jason Christie. He's seen Christie go through that charge to win the Classic. He's seen Christie win multiple things. And I just think that not only is Gussie a very advanced angler, I mean, he's won a lot of tournaments in his time, but just seeing that happen has to make it more achievable in your mind.
There's no doubt. I mean, if you're around success, it will breed success. You see good things happen, you mimic good things will happen. But at the same time, you see it over and over again, the cases where guys are just scared to fail. And when you're scared to fail, you don't want to take those necessary chances to win. You put yourself in a bind, and I just don't think that's going to happen with Gussie because he's been around that positive emotion.
Positive in, negative out.
Exactly.
Tap it in, happy.
As we're now riding along with Brandon Lester, he's at the point of the day where he's switched his game plan. Can you explain to the viewers why you would think that maybe a cool evening or turbulent water, you may start on a more vertical structure where fish can go up and down? Can you explain why he started maybe in a flat pocket, dirtier water, and now in the afternoon as it warms up to its hottest of the day, that he's now going to that vertical cover like he did yesterday? Got that one bite he needed. He needs 2 of those today, though.
In my opinion, I feel like he's taking advantage of that early morning activity, feeding activity, and you're not necessarily going after the sows, the big girls. What he's doing now is the chance in a way to catch big fish, and you're calling up pounds. I like what he's doing. I actually know where he's at. I like where he's doing it, and I think he knows that any flip is pounds. 2 flips, multiple pounds, 3 flips, hey, I'm all the way back in the game. So he's confident what he's doing. He knows the body of water, and with the flip of a stick in his hand, Brandon is by far one of the best in the game.
We've been watching a lot of anglers make some moves, and Robbie Floyd has had his pulse on all of those smallmouth anglers towards the canal. So he's out with Austin Felix, I believe, right now, who's made a transition, Robbie.
Yeah, and I don't know if pulse is an accurate assessment because we might have been considered dead for a while because there wasn't much happening out there in the canal. Everybody cleared out. Gussie stayed there for a while, but you can see he's not messing with that canal anymore. Now he's hitting the bank. And what was interesting, when the smallmouth stuff stopped, he came out here, hit a couple of points, some flats, trying to stir up still smallmouth fish. He switched to a crankbait, caught a fish the first cast underneath the dock, small smallmouth. Then the DT6, he catches one. This is keeper. Now it shows he only has 4 fish, or it will show he only has 4 fish, but he actually has a 5th fish in the boat. He now has a limit. He's got one about 2 pounds, 2¼ pounds that is dead on that 18-inch line. So he's saying he wants to keep it. He does, but again, he's going to check, because if that thing shrinks, and we've seen that, I don't know the physical response for that happening. If it does get below 18, he's going to have to put it back in the water. But I know you've got Hank on board there, and it was breaking my heart knowing that Hank was here signing autographs at the expo, watching what Corey Johnston did the past couple of days with the jerkbait off of that point near the canal, and I know it's got to be tearing Hank up.
Robbie Floyd, I don't know how you do it, but your hair is always on point. No matter the conditions, we appreciate that. You bring the hair game to the Bassmaster Classic. Are you seeing any of those, getting into the afternoon, you got to feel like if the voices and the nerves start creeping in, are you seeing any signs of that?
Well, I haven't seen any sign of anything. I really haven't seen anybody moving around, but I mean, but seeing him catch his limit here towards the end, doing something different than he had been doing. Maybe this is a secondary thing that he stumbled upon. A lot of questions are these largemouth guys going to catch them later on the day like they did in day one? So if you're targeting largemouth, you're looking forward to this back half of the day. If you've been targeting smallmouth, maybe you need to start looking for some largemouth. I don't know. And already a mixed bag here the past few casts for Austin Felix. So I don't think anybody's panicking right now, especially if you're looking for that largemouth bite.
Thank you, Robbie Floyd. And yeah, some of those anglers who are not named Jeff Gustafson that have dabbled with the smallmouth have always said that's not their main game plan. They have to fill their limit with largemouth or have a mixed bag. Austin Felix, that's very, very good. He may have said, we have seen nothing. Well, that's huge info, because Austin Felix, 10th place with 4 fish. He actually has 5. If that 2.5 pounder, he's going to be up into 6th place. So 2.5 pounds separating 4, 5, 6 spots right now. Austin Felix is going to be one to keep an eye on, especially if he gets on 5 18-inch smallmouth in that same area tomorrow. We'll be right back. Hank, will you hang around with us?
We'll be here.
Come on, man, let's roll. What the?
To catch the fish, you need to be one with the fish.